Welcome everybody to the Inside Star Citizen Review, the only show that brings in other citizens in real time to talk about what it is we're watching or what they're doing at any given point in time. We just chill out here. I think this is the perfect way to watch Inside Star Citizen because we're getting live feedback from people that are interested in the game. And we can talk about different issues as they occur, as they happen. And I don't watch Inside Star Citizen any other way. Like, I actually will hold off until I can watch it with my peeps. So let's check out this particular episode. It's supposed to be a good one. Let's see if it is. Let's see what I think. Oh, shit. Okay, sorry about that microphone.
From Babylon 5 to Deep Space Nine, from the Justice League Watchtower to Asteroid N, and perhaps my personal favorite, Space Station 5 from 2001.
They're tired. They're tired. I'm telling you right now, this is a good sign. I'm seeing the amount of tired. And I don't know if you guys saw in my Patreon, for patrons, one of our fans, Toby, aka Killian, bought some of our merch and wore it to his trip to LA, went to the SIG headquarters in LA, wore the shirt, took pictures. He was in the back smoking a cigarette. Was one of the designers. God, I can't remember the name right now. And he actually invited him in to the studio. He invited one of our fans into the studio. They were in SIG. They were chilling out, having a good time, talking. And he said, what a wonderful experience. I did not expect that, which I thought that was super awesome of Jared to do, to bring him into SIG and talk to like a backer. What's up, Drake? Drake says, the only way to watch Star Citizen. Thank you, Drake. Thank you. Now let's watch this. They sound really tired, though. Tired's a good thing. That means that they're getting some shit done.
Stations are an integral part of many of our favorite sci-fi settings. Even in Star Citizen, when your journey into the persistent universe first begins, your character awakens on Port Olisar, a space station that's high in orbit over the planet Crusader. Space stations are more than just waypoints between destinations. They're one of the many ways we can show mankind's progression throughout the galaxy. And the members of our environment, art, and design content teams have been working to expand Star Citizen's space station vocabulary.
I'm excited. I'm actually excited. Like, new content, new places to go. They're designing new stations, but in what respect are they going to actually accommodate the larger, like Hull class ships? I heard that these stations might have to do something with Hull. I don't want to spoil myself. I don't want to know what's going to happen here.
When it comes to their procedural design. Let's find out more.
We've been looking at increasing the variety and sort of complexity of our space station exteriors in terms of their shape, and basically make our space stations look much more diverse when you first approach them. So the first thing to do was take the concept. We took the concept, we had a look at those, and breaking those concepts down into what would be
That's pretty slick. That's pretty slick.
We're talking about how to stitch those assets together.
This is great. Each station should have its own look. You know, each station should have its own feel, its own lore. I want the feels in each station to be different. Already digging the look of this.
In a modular way. So we would take that first and sort of piece them together by hand to make sure all the assets that we're going to build would work with one another. And then it's a case of taking those into prefab libraries and setting them up to be used with the procedural system. Basically, it's the beginning of fully putting the space stations into a procedural system. Next comes interiors, and then marrying those two things together. And that gives us the ability to go away and then create things like cargo and refinery stations, as well as just the rest stops, but all in a completely procedural way and all fully integrated with one another. So we should see output in terms of like locations for these sort of what we call secondary, like our landing zones are a little more bespoke. These are kind of more secondary locations.
I'm geeking out right now.
Because they're kind of going to be the bread and butter of the player experience, and we want them all to look different in some way.
Good.
We can only do that using a procedural tools.
Good.
So what it is, it's just the start of a new sort of expansion.
There we go.
Our sort of procedural space station.
Those are hangars.
So for this
Those
release,
are
for
hangars.
3.6, we're looking at updating the exteriors, so they should be a lot bigger. They'll be a lot more fun to fly around. They'll be more diverse in terms of where the hangars are positioned, where landing pads are positioned, but you're not going to see much in terms of expansion for the next release. That comes in the release after.
Okay, so those look like hangar size for like medium to larger size ships to me. But there were other areas on there that looked a little bit larger that could maybe accommodate larger size ships here.
We're looking at updating the interiors.
But that is, look at the shape and look how linear that is. That's pretty cool looking.
As well, and then as we sort of roll later on into the year, you'll see
that kind of looks like Star Wars 1,
and our entire sort
like
of
the space station from the first Star Wars.
More sort of diverse and expansive.
When trying to sum up Star Citizen in a word, you can find yourself with a variety of...
Okay, I wish they would have explained a little bit more on what types of ships actually docked into those stations. Like I want a little bit more information on the stations. They're speeding through once again.
Options like diegetic, fidelity, or immersion. It's one of the reasons playing the Star Citizen drinking game might be the most dangerous game around, at least for your liver. These words are also the reason our animation team spent time this quarter working on motion capture for bartenders to make these NPC behaviors blend seamlessly within the game's universe in ways that people know, at least subconsciously. It's one more way we're building a universe you can recognize even 940 years in the future.
You should have seen the talent we had in here last week. I'm talking choice.
So last week I was in Austin, and we were looking at the bartender and the bartender behavior. The bartender we have in game right now has
there needs to be a lot of work done with AI. I think we can all agree that AI needs a ton of work. I've noticed that on the Cloud Imperium game site that they do have listings for AI designers, 2 or 3, and they desperately need them to get the work done. I wonder how much work is actually being done in regards to the AI when it comes to NPC AI actions, reactions. I mean, like when you're playing the PU, a lot of the times, how many times do we see NPCs standing on tables? How many times do we see NPCs not walking correctly? You know, AI is on the priority list.
Behavior. He works out a very simple counter. He gives you a glass, he gives you, I think, a bottle of whiskey, and that's basically all he can do. But
Space whiskey.
What we wanted to do is to set the foundation to be able to extend it into larger bars, things on ArcCorp, on different planets, in ships and things like that, and to be able to create the bar layouts so that they can be used modularly in other places. So the first thing we did is we looked at the counter that we have, and we said, okay, well, what are the different portions of a bar? And then we started to find ways that we could build sort of an approximation of that using PVC pipes, cardboard.
He's having a good time right there.
Actual bartending instruments in our Austin studio to be able to motion capture a really solid prototype for each one of those sections, like the cocktail bar, the taps and stuff like that. And we shot a number of different liquor pours, I think somewhere in the realm of 25 different cocktails. It's a fine balancing act as well in saying, do we need to ship with 30 cocktails at once? No, we don't. Do we even need 30 cocktails? I don't know, maybe not. But at least what that gives us then is an understanding as to the
do we need that many cocktails? That's the only type of game you would ever hear that from, a Star Citizen. I love it. Jiro says, I bet the AI is being worked for Squadron 42. Yes, because that's how we know of the process. So everything that's being worked in Squadron 42 then passes down into the PU. That's kind of the process. And the next vid I'm going to do is actually going to get into that a bit. So I'm glad that Jiro mentioned that. DY says #professional. Thank you, DY. Good to see you on the stream, bro. This is so Bar Citizen, Drake. This is so Bar Citizen. The amount of detail right now is off the hook. Like they're just basically saying, hey, we need like 30 different types of cocktails. I don't know if we really need that, but hey, if they want to put that in the game, okay. I do like the fact that they're talking about procedural generation in bars. I mean, like every time I'm in a real life bar, I think to myself, like if I could procedurally generate myself into different bar scenarios, you know, with all the different drinks that are there, how would I do it? I wish I could just tap a button in a real life bar and I just be like, boop. I want like, you know, mahogany, top hot waitress, free drinks, boop, you know, dark bar, subtle music. Like, I would like to have that feature in real life. That would be great. DUI says, I want a shot of bomb. Sap says, procedurally generated drinks. I'm glad you guys are talking, man. I was getting worried. I was getting a little quiet.
But also that the
getting a little bit worried.
foundational aspects of the bartender are solid for each one of those things. So
Space
the
Hooters.
whole point of why we're doing this on the bartender is because we are trying to create an environment that when you're in it, you feel like you are in an actual bar. You're in an actual living, breathing location. That bartender.
And that's cool. They need to work on G-Lock a little bit on ArcCorp. You know, like, I don't know. I kind of like the older version of the ArcCorp. It was a little bit more greedy. The G-Lock bar in ArcCorp, that was the older version. But hey, it's okay. You know what? They need to work on making the feeling, the AI, give you the feel in ArcCorp like it doesn't feel like it's alive yet. They got a lot of work to do, but I do believe that eventually one day we're going to be logged into ArcCorp and we're going to be walking around and the AI is going to make us feel as if we're part of the environment. That's the flow. That's the design I'm looking for within Star Citizen in the multiplayer in the PU. I want that kind of feel where like I'm literally part of the city is moving around me, and that's going to take a lot of work from their AI department.
Bartender is operating just like you would expect a bartender to operate in the real world. You go, hey, I know what that's like, and that there's an honesty and a realism to the environment that you're living in.
Gotta go. Not that kind of place, boss.
If you're a subscriber, you may have already seen the first work-in-progress images of the Vanguard Warden exterior rework in this month's Jump Point magazine, along with the story behind our team's efforts. Now, many of those teams have been looking forward to the chance to return to the Vanguard a bit of the character and aggressive personality that was found in those original concept images. Joining us this week is Joe Neville with more on our look at the...
This is a great hot topic. The reworks of the reworks, right? I don't, you know, they're trying to make it more streamlined in regards to the interior of the ships. I get it. As time moves on, the design of the ships have to change based upon the code they're putting into the game, and they have to make sure that the ship inside and out is functioning to the level in which there's not any glitchiness inside the cabins, which is why the 300 kind of bubbled out. Also a reason why I wasn't too hot about the new 300. I'm warming up to it. Don't worry.
The return of glowing engine intakes and tank tread landing gear.
So the Vanguard was one of the ships that was in line for a visual update.
Vanguard
We've
Warden.
taken this time to.
Vanguard Warden is one of my favorite looking ships. I have not seen the subscriber letter. I am a subscriber. I'm curious to see what the new rework looks like.
That were in the concept and push it more back in line with that. So one of the features we tried to reintroduce to the Vanguard was the glowing intakes. And this helps the ships to look a lot more aggressive. These are glowing with the missives right now, but they'll be filled in with VFX and particles so that when the retro drives get activated, these will be will have a lot more presence.
Okay. Sell
Another
me.
feature we introduced was the shoulder-mounted missile bays. And these will be deployable when landing gear get deployed. The profile towards the front of the ship is now a lot sleeker.
Okay.
And the materials have been pushed more in line with those of the Retaliator.
I'm okay with this. I'm okay with this rework.
And it helps to give the Vanguard more of a sense of scale, since it is quite a large ship.
Okay.
So another feature we've reintroduced have been the support columns. And these are just a bit more interesting than what they were. Again, they help to give the ship a sense of scale. These large nacelles, all the kind of engine columns in the ship.
We're going to talk about this actually, like the experiences that people have within the PU and how that translates to ship sales. That'll be on the next video actually, so stay tuned to that. I've been working on that all day. It's been a headache for me, but that will be released on my YouTube channel.
Very, very big. So these columns really help to show that they're supporting the weight of the rear engines. So another feature we reintroduced was the landing gear, and we gave it the tires that used to be in the concept. And we've also given it the tank treads that were previously there as well.
Right.
We've also widened the bottom of the ship to accommodate the habitation pod. And the rear ramp has been widened to be more in line with the Vanguard hoplite variant. And this just allows more players to be able to exit the ship at the same time.
What's up, Pirate? How you
The
doing,
exterior
bro?
of the
Good to see
Vanguard's
you on the
almost done
stream,
now.
man.
The final steps will be to redo the damage, make sure that all works correctly, and then do the logs again. And then hopefully it'll be with you guys soon.
So what did we learn this week? We learned that the process of
This went
procedural
by so
stations is
fast.
progressing propitiously. For bartenders, it may be the littlest of things that make a universe feel alive and believable. And the Vanguard
Poor
appears
Jared,
well on
he's
its
so
way towards
tired.
achieving its namesake at the forefront of badass-looking spaceships. To our subscribers, like I said, check out this month's Jump Point for more on the Vanguard rework story, and of course this week's subscriber vault for more images from last week's look inside the 890 Jump. And to everyone out there in the Star Citizen real life,
Yeah,
universe,
Pirate, I know, dude.
this one's
I know,
consistent
man.
too. We'll see you next week.
Oh, it's so short, man. Okay. There definitely needed to be more detail with the stations. Like, they need to tell us a little bit more with the stations. So damn short. I am so disappointed. Like, you know, it was kind of like a tease. You know what I mean? This show was very teasy. It was a tease show. I'm not happy with that. You know, I was expecting there to be a little bit more in regards to the stations. I got to see a couple of the different designs of the stations. Yes, I was excited about that. They didn't get into like the different styles of ships that would be able to dock on these stations. They didn't talk about locations of stations. Not that I was aware of. Maybe I missed that. But this was very, very similar to the way, like, you can kind of see it in the lack of comments on this ISCR show. On like, in the lack of comments in the show, people were kind of like, you know? It's kind of how I felt with the show. It was like anticlimactic. I wanted a lot more detail in regards to the stations. Come on, step it up a little bit. You know, maybe they'll get into it on tomorrow's show a little bit. I'm not quite sure, but I think they have to do a much better job on the Inside Star Citizens. They're kind of slipping off a cliff right now. We need longer stations with 2 spherical habitation modules at one end. I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to make a penis station. I already know, Damon, what you're trying to do. I wholeheartedly agree with you. There should be penis stations just about everywhere you go. So, man, I hate to actually end this show. Like, I feel like if I'm feeling like you have a lack of entertainment, that is not good. Like, the entertainment that you're receiving right now is directly dependent upon the Inside Star Citizen show, and the Inside Star Citizen show did not feel like it delivered this week. Yes, it gave us the stations and a little bit more of that kind of glitz with the stations, but that was it. And it didn't tell us enough about what's going on with them. Like, I wanted to see some more, you know? If they're going to put it on the show, they should possibly, like, you know, get a little bit more in depth into it. Time to penis. Oh, guys. I don't even want to leave you guys, but that's the end of the show. That's the end of the show. I'm going to put this on YouTube, and I want to see some comments down below on the YouTube about if you liked the show, if you didn't like the show. I personally thought the show was too damn short. And it seemed like it was all kind of mushed together, kind of haphazardly. You're right, Pirate. Dublin says the end. He just got here. Do you see? Dublin just showed up. By the way, hey, Dublin, what's going on, dude? Good to see you on the stream. Dublin, don't worry, you didn't miss much, Dublin. This is going to be the lowest viewed video I probably have on my YouTube once I release this, because it was kind of quiet. Like, this whole show is very quiet. People were expecting more.